Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today I'm looking at Incredible Hulk 365. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Daryl. I am the host of Read Your Comics. I've been doing this read through of the Peter David Hulk run, and today I'm continuing that with Countdown Part 2 of 4. But before I jump into it, I just want to give a quick shout out to all the viewer support. All your likes, comments, and shares are much appreciated. If you're new to the channel or just haven't done so already, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Go ahead and hit like now, that way you don't forget and the next video starts playing. All of those things help the YouTube algorithm put this in front of other comic fans so they can enjoy looking at old comics with me too. So we're picking up today with the second part of the Countdown story arc that has a poisoned Hulk looking for a cure. So let's take a quick look at this cover by Walt Simonson. He's doing all the covers of this storyline. You kind of get a sense that the Hulk isn't himself right here. He just doesn't seem as quite as big. He almost looks gaunt, I would say. Of course, Walt Simonson was in the middle of doing an FF run at this time anyway, so kind of neat to see him get to draw the Thing on the cover of this one. Last issue, he was poisoned. Well, I should say Bruce Banner was poisoned, and this countdown timer started. And the Abomination showed up, threw Bruce Banner into like a gamma accelerator, and forced the Hulk to come out during the daytime, because the Gray Hulk used to just come out at nighttime. But the poison is also acting on the Hulk and causing these heart attacks. So in the previous issue, too, earlier on, Bruce Banner had seen in the newspaper that Reed Richards was going to be nearby giving a lecture. That's how we're going to set up this meeting with the Thing here. But we'll notice this isn't the Thing we're all familiar with. And before I get into it, I just want to say this is going to have some of the best moments between the Hulk and Ben Grimm probably ever. I can't think of a better moment than what happens in this issue, and not a single punch is thrown. So after the fight with the Abomination, the Hulk collapsed, and because he was having these heart attacks, and it says he's been laying dormant for a few hours. So we see our countdown timer that started around like 20 hours, I think, is now already down to 10 hours and 15 minutes. And it was at a nuclear facility, so they're bringing in these guys in these hazmat outfits to come clean up the mess and the destruction left behind by the Hulk and the Abomination. You'll see this thing of toxic waste right here, this like cracked canister. That was something he poured on the Abomination. Now, one thing I'm going to say is that kind of left the Abomination there at the end of the issue. He didn't run away and escape, and we don't really pick up the pieces on that. We just see him starting to pick up the Hulk, but he wakes up, kind of mocks this group of people who are kind of like, stop him, somebody stop him. And he's like, yeah, right, like you guys could do that. I guess I would say again, this is Jeff Purves. This is Mary Severin doing the inks, and I think they're a pretty good team together. But this Doc Samson, who hasn't been in the book for a while, uh, that face is kind of rough. That's a rough Doc Samson. I don't know what's going on there. But Doc Samson makes his return here. Last we saw him was when the Hulk, the Hulk and Banner and Rick and Quartermain escaped from Gamma Base way back in the 330s. So if you want to check out the video, it was a two-part episode. I did it with West Coast Avengers. Go back there and watch that one. But that was the last time we saw Doc Samson. He was left behind. He got beat up and put and like kind of buried under some rubble. And when he came to and clawed himself out of the rebel, Gamma Base was leveled, and we haven't seen him since. I always have to point out the lettering here. I like how the lettering actually comes off of the panel here, so you don't get to see it all. It's like crash. It's pretty clever. So here's Reed Richards at the banquet that he's doing, the Phoenix Science Convocation. And in the audience, we have a human Ben Grimm with Sharon Ventura, who at the time was the Thing for the Fantastic Four. And size here, not great. Again, actually, that's pretty close to the way Kirby drew the Thing, only being about 6 foot and small, kind of smaller. Some funny banter though about how she's excited to listen to Reed speak. She's like, I've never heard it before. He said, me neither. I keep dozing, and points out how Sue even bailed on the speech and went shopping. when all of a sudden the Hulk crashes in, and this is going to cause a lot of commotion. Sharon stands up to take him on. She says, "It's the Hulk. Stay back. I've been dying for a piece of this guy." And I love this interaction too with the Hulk and Sharon because he doesn't know that this is not Ben Grimm. He says, "Grimm, ha, what the heck happened to you? Last time I looked at you, you were a pineapple." Back in Hulk 350 when he was the maxed out thing. "Now you're abroad. What a riot. And I thought I had problems." So you're going to get a lot of that, like, kind of comedic, like, misunderstanding, I guess, of the situation. And she starts to put up a good fight here. And we have to remember this is a bit of a weakened Hulk because he does have that poison in him that's, causing him heart attacks and stuff. So he's a little weakened. But she hits him and knocks him out of the building. And I guess this can still be daytime since he did turn into the Hulk during the daytime before. But I think there's going to be like if it turns to night and then back to day again, that's kind of it. It'll turn back to Banner. And, well, he assumes he will turn back into Banner. And the heart attack will kill him. Get a comic book store getting crashed into right here. That's not the Hulk throwing the car this time. It's just where he got hit into the road and the car swerves and hits the comic shop. I like this panel too. I think Purves really does well on these just close ups of the Hulk with the facial expressions and stuff. Punches like a girl. Here's Sue out shopping, and she's hearing the commotion, the sirens, and thinking like, "Oh no, here we go again. We're under attack. I better stop what I'm doing and go see what's happening." Then you get a pretty good brawl, and this is where she starts to explain. She says, "I'm not the Thing, you idiot. I'm Miss Marvel. Figures you'd change your name. Could have been worse. You could have called yourself She-Thing," which is irritating her even more. It's all pretty humorous. And then you have Ben kind of feeling bad because he can't go out there and do anything about it. His male ego being a little bruised right there. And as she starts to throw the car, this is where the witty, cantankerous Hulk comes in, where she lifts a car to smash on him. He says, "There's a kid in that car." She says, "Huh? Sucker." Because there wasn't. And now the Hulk's going to say, like, "Look, hold on a second. I didn't really come to fight." But she doesn't accept that, and they just keep kind of going at it for a minute. Pretty good choreography fight here, too. We get back to back issues of Purvis doing a well plotted fight scene between the Hulk and like another, strong character like the Abomination. And now we have the Miss Marvel thing. And he ends up just grabbing her by the mouth, like telling her to be quiet, and sticks his fingers in her mouth and lifts her up and is trying to explain why he's really there. So then here comes Ben Grimm, jumps on his back, and then the Hulk immediately recognizes him and says, "All right, now that sounds like the Thing Cripes, it is you, Grimm. You look awful." And I love that. It's playing on that rivalry that the Hulk has with Ben Grimm, where he actually kind of likes him and respects him and enjoys the fights, or at least his memory of it, because most of the time he was the Green Hulk. To see him human like that is almost like dehumanizing to Ben Grimm for the Hulk to see him in that condition. So then she gets recovered and lifts him up, and he says the same thing, more humor. "I wouldn't do that if I were you. Ben Grimm's on my back." And she says she's not falling for it again, so she throws the Hulk with Ben Grimm on his back. But kind of silly because it seems like she would have seen that, right? Fortunately, Reed Richards is able to come out and soften the landing. Cut back to Doc Samson, who's back at that nuclear facility, and for some reason, he's being given this authority to question people at the facility to see what happened. Now, why does he have this authority? I don't know. Is he working for Shield? Why is Doc Samson getting this? Getting to act like the interrogator police officer here? I don't know. Anyway, he comes to talk to Phil Stearns, who he says, "You were seen with the janitor who we believe to be Bruce Banner and the Hulk. What do you know about it?" And he just plays dumb. He says, "I don't know what you're talking about. We had a janitor named Bancroft, but I don't know anything about Bruce Banner or the Hulk." And Samson isn't buying it, and says he can't leave. So again, where is Samson getting that authority? You just got to roll with it, I guess. she's not going to give up. Here's our timer. Look how much time has passed since the beginning. About an hour and 20 minutes has gone by since the issue opened. And he's like, "Oh no, Richards, I hope you're conscious." And she's still going to do it. And the Hulk's just kind of done with it because he's really come to see Reed Richards to find out what's going on with him having these heart attacks. He knows he's been poisoned. And he says, now that I know you're not the thing, you're less interesting than ever. And even in his weakened condition, just done with her. Whap! Takes her out. It's playtime's over. We're done. Mocks that she has some moves with a few thing moves, and that's about it. Knocks up the fire hydrant so it starts like sprinkling down. Turn invisible. That's a good trick, but it's not your trick, is it? He's like, and I see you. And he's like, I see you. And the fact that I'm letting you know that I see you instead of just attacking should know that I'm not here to fight you. And then she gets up and she hits him on the, well, no, then he has the heart attack. He's having another heart attack, and she takes advantage and whacks him on the head. And that knocks him out. Mostly it's the heart attack that knocks him out. And so here Richards is like, well, we got to figure out what's going on. This does seem odd that he wasn't really trying to attack any of us. We kind of just retaliated when he showed up. He did crash through the ceiling, which is kind of an indication that he's there to fight. But yeah, it's the Hulk, I guess. You just expect that kind of an entrance. This looks weird. This is one of those places. Purves getting the size a little awkward again, the inconsistency. But then you get these kind of faces and stuff. And this is the stuff when I really look at Purvis's run that I really like these close-ups and these facial expressions and stuff. Essentially, they explain the whole thing. You've been poisoned. It's working on you. It's like accelerating. They give some science mumbo jumbo about how the poison is working, at least that they know of. But they can't do anything about it because they can't get a blood sample. So the Hulk punches himself in the nose to get some blood. He's like, get a test tube. I'll keep going until you got enough. And some aspirin. So the only way to get some blood out of the Hulk, I guess, without some adamantium to cut him, is for the Hulk to just hit himself. Now, this is the part I said is going to be the best interaction between Ben Grimm and the Hulk ever. And there's not a punch thrown. So Ben is at a bar, just kind of wallowing in self-pity. The thing about Ben Grimm that's kind of funny is he always wanted to be human again, but he liked having his strength and power and being part of the FF. And when he doesn't have that strength and power, he feels a little useless, like washed up. And so it's that give and take with the character that is always kind of interesting. And in this instance, he's feeling kind of useless. He wasn't able to help in the fight. So he's wallowing in self-pity. The Hulk shows up, says he'll have a glass of milk, and Grimm is paying. And he says, you must think this is pretty funny. You can just mouth off like that, and I can't do a thing against you. Literally. Ha ha, smart guy. And then they have a great conversation about how Ben points out that the Hulk has always kind of resented him because even though he was a monster, he was accepted and had friends and a family of sorts. And the Hulk is like, but you always resented me because I was happy that I was a monster. I'm happy with who I am, and that bothered you that I was okay with it. And then he goes on to point out that like a lot of the times the Hulk wasn't doing anything when the FF attacked him. And he says, you never even apologize. You never even apologized for that first meeting going back to FF12. And it's just a great bar scene here with the Hulk even kind of putting his hand on his shoulder, and he's saying, maybe I could never penetrate your rock, but I got under your skin. Remember that if we never meet again. The Hulk is worried. He's worried that he's going to turn into Banner and have a heart attack and die. You don't really see the Hulk worried too much. And as he starts to exit, Ben says, hey, Hulk, yeah, I'm sorry I thought you were the Wrecker, who he was confusing him with in issue 12. And the Hulk getting his parting shot. Remember all those times I beat you up? Yeah, I was going easy on you. So it's the Hulk's book. He gets to have the last word and leaves Ben kind of, on his own there. And then we wrap up, and man, the time's really gone by now. We're down to 5 hours left. And they're saying there's not much to do, or And they're just kind of, again, telling him what's going on, and that unless they can find a cure, he's going to die. And that's yes. So I'm going to die. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And that leaves us on our cliffhanger. And we get to see the cover for next issue with the return of the leader, who we have not seen since the Ground Zero storyline. So starting to kind of bring back some of the stuff that Peter David, the groundwork he laid in the way earlier issues, coming to more fruition again, or being called back to in this storyline. That's it for this chapter. Got 2 more parts to this story. It's one of my favorite ones as we continue along in this run. And until next time, read your comics. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my breakdown of this issue, you can support the channel by hitting subscribe. It costs you nothing and helps other comic fans find the channel. You can also visit readyourcomics.com for cool merch, like this. Read Your Comics isn't just a brand, it's a mantra. And when you wear a Read Your Comics shirt, you are helping spread the word. For more classic comics conversation, be sure to follow me on Instagram at read.your.comics. And if you're still here, why not watch one of my older videos? Here or here.